recommendation would be, you know, I was concerned 25 cents wasn't enough on the lunch, you're concerned about the milk. My recommendation would be go with Carl's suggestion, but I'd like to review it 3 months in. See, as Cliff said, are we selling more, are we selling fewer, are you making enough money, have costs increased even more? And so that's my recommendation. If everybody's okay with that, and we'll review it, say, in January of 2009. Is that okay, Carl?
Yes,
Oh, I
thank you.
guess so.
Thanks, Nicole. Can I have a motion to approve Mr. Nelson's recommendations for price increases for our school lunch program? Moved by Mr. Bowers, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Venezia. And to review it in January 2009. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thanks, Carl. Okay, next, bills and payrolls are signed. They all set? Okay. Minutes. Here's some.
I'm gonna be abstaining because I wasn't at, I don't know, these minutes.
Well, I can't find them here, but I read them. I found no issues except on, there was the executive session, well, let's do the, why can't I find where it was?
Oh, there's a numbering problem.
Right, numbering problem. You got them there? All right, we have the regular, meeting of the committee on May 27th, 2008. Mrs. Davis was not present. I read through them, I found no issues on the regular session. I don't know if anybody else, found anything.
Just on page 7 of the numbering.
Oh yeah, page 7, that's where it was. Numbering on page 7, under correspondence, there's no numbers next to the items, just zeros. And there's a little zero for the last one. 3 big zeros. So other than that, I didn't see anything else. So can I have a motion to approve May 27th, 2008?
So that's as amended?
Yeah, as amended.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Metzia. Have a second? Second by Mr. Bowers. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. Abstention? 1. And then we have brief executive session minutes from that same night. I read these and saw no issues with them either. Unless anybody has any issues, can I have a motion to approve the May 27th executive session?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Metzia, second by Mr. Bowers. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Abstention? 1 abstention. Okay. Administrative reports. Anything, David?
Oh, okay. Yes, I have something, please. In your packet, there is on the letterhead, Commonwealth of Massachusetts Department of Elementary and Secondary Education. We underwent an audit recently. It is kind of unusual. This is a group in what used to be called, the Department of Education, as you know, has been renamed. So it's now called the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education.
Glad they included that.
Right, that's a really...
They lost preschool and they lost higher education. So both of those have left, so that's why they had to rename themselves. In any case, you may also recall that there was a
Coordinated program.
as part of, this is an offshoot of the coordinated program review that took place earlier this spring. But we were told without a whole lot of notice that a group was coming in to really look at our federal spending. So we spent a day with a group from that organization, and this is the report they issued. They've made a couple suggestions that we will certainly fulfill. These aren't really findings because they haven't reached, finding is a somewhat more serious term used semantically with auditors, but rather they make observations. And the observations that are worthy of mentioning here, our first thing is the business office does have a consumer credit card. Happens to be for Sears. From time to time, we buy tools that way. They noticed that our credit card was not under lock and key. So that was their first observation. We have since put the credit card under lock and key, and that was a good observation. The second observation they made was that in the cases where we're paying federal employees, they'd like to see us split every check based on the percentage of their work that month for federal work
Right.
versus non-federal work. What we've done instead of that is, if it's 50-50, for example, we'll pay them the first half of the year on one account, the second half of the year on another account.
Right.
It ends up being the same.
Right.
But they are making that as an observation, that we need to look at that. It's not as easy said and done, because
No.
there are
It makes it
certain,
much more difficult for the district.
well, there's certain weeks where things change.
Right.
So,
And it's a good recommendation by them, because they don't have to do it.
Right.
Right.
So 1 week it might be 30, 70, 30 out of the federal grant, 70
Yeah.
from us, and the next week it could be, that's a pain in the neck.
Yes, and it's also tough if towards the end of the year, you're not matching up with what the grant request was. So we're gonna have further discussions with them. They also want us on a weekly basis to have all of these employees sign a statement, that's the third paragraph, in effect stating that they understand that they're being paid from federal grants, and that they're testifying that they did in fact work that week at a 30% level for the feds versus 70% for someone else. So
I can see why this is important, you know, I mean, this is,
Oh, goodness, just make them sign up before they get their paycheck.
Right.
So, basically, that's the best they could come up with, and I was very pleased that, particularly when we didn't even expect this group to come in and didn't have any experience with this particular segment of the department, that we are in effect in pretty good compliance with federal and state laws. But because we share all of this information with the school committee and the public, we wanted to show this to you. Happy to answer any questions.
I mean, it's just more work, but overall, it's a good report. They didn't find anything, you know, any glaring issues, so.
No, they didn't, and I think sometime this summer, our end of the year report audit will be coming out. That's the major audit that we have on an annual basis, and that's issued soon.
Correspondence, David?
No, there's not.
I will point out, we have the North Reading High School Athletic Department handbook, which Mr. Johnson and staff did a great job putting together. And will this be made available once students sign up for a sport? They'll receive this handbook. Great job.
Very good.
Very good.
Jim from the staff will accept it.
Oh, yeah, that's right, we did. We jumped over subcommittee reports. Sorry about that. In my case, too. And staffing also. So Dr. Troutman, staffing changes?
It's a real test for Cindy today to keep up with me.
Sorry, Cindy. I want to give you a test on the first, no, usually I follow the agenda a little bit better than
This is
this.
the first meeting he's ever chaired, so.
We'll let him slide.
Well, there are 4 staffing changes to note. Erin Burchell submitted a letter of intent to resign from her position as an elementary classroom teacher at the Wood School. Erin has accepted a job in Reading. Kendra Harrison has submitted a letter of intent to resign as a world language teacher at the middle school. Kendra has accepted a job, I believe, in out in the central part of the state. Catherine McDonald has submitted a letter of intent to resign as a mathematics teacher at the high school, and looking at private business. Kim Visconti has submitted a letter of intent to resign as school nurse at the Willow School. And going back to, I guess, some kind of health research.
Subcommittee reports, Mr. Bowers, anything on finance advisory?
The fiscal advisory committee meeting last meeting there was an effort to, there was a discussion about there not being very many items that we were looking at related to the schools. And I had a little discussion about that, but there was still a lot of feeling that they need to be more digging and try to find some savings in the schools.
Well, obviously, since we're 13th to 14th from the bottom in the state, obviously we need to look to find more money to save, I would think.
Well, there were a number of things that were discussed, issues on trying to save money on busing, and some other thoughts on step increases, discussions with the unions about increasing the number of steps and that sort of thing. So there's an effort going on through a subcommittee of the fiscal advisory committee that to look into those.
Plus reducing the number of steps.
Right.
Gets you to maximum
Faster.
quicker,
Well,
which is an interesting thing. I think there would be probably a lot of appreciation, say, from the teachers.
Right, exactly.
If I had a guess, I would guess they were saying that we have to eliminate some of the top steps. That's probably what they were looking at, if I had a guess.
there was some discussion from other members of the committee comparing the benchmark study results by step with the salary ranges and so forth that we had within it. And, I'm a member.
Right. It'd probably point them to a recent article in the local Reading newspaper, where the town of Reading hired a private consulting firm, Stone Consulting, to look at both municipal and school salaries for virtually all positions. Very interesting results that I would strongly
Well,
suggest.
I can appreciate them asking those questions. I mean,
Right.
quite frankly, from my experience negotiating last teacher's contract, seriously, we literally had in our hand the contracts from every single surrounding community, every one. And that's what part of the basis of us kind of revising the the teacher's contract last time were those contracts. And we really brought ourselves into line with this, not only the step schedule, which ours was a little bit antiquated, it was unlike most of the others. So I think now we're basically on like a 12-step schedule. And the salaries were we were really, really consistent with the surrounding communities.
My personal input in this was largely related, the discussion was largely related to the expense part of the school budget. And because I have a conflict in the other part, the salary part, I made that clear that I had a conflict and that I really couldn't swing.
But I understand them asking that question. I mean, when you see
Yeah.
teacher salaries, you all of a sudden, if you don't put them in perspective and you don't compare them relatively to everybody else, you're gonna have a question about it.
In my own opinion, the effort expended on the school portion of the budget is misguided and wasted. But that's a pretty strong statement to make, I guess, but that's the way I feel about it. Because when I came here, I didn't know what the circumstance was. I haven't gotten into every nook and cranny of this operation, but my candid feeling of it is that I'm impressed at how good a job the schools do.